Hey YouTube, this is Active over here. I've got to make a response video to this one Japanese blogger I just saw. It's Tokyo Zeplin's Kanji video. I believe it's like his number 18 in his video series. And the reason I have to make a response to this is because, wow, it's really wrong. And spreading information or disinformation like this is really bad for new Japanese language students or people interested in learning Japanese. There's just stuff. Hold on. Oh, I'm on an EPC right now, or a triple E, or however, E or PC. Maybe that's what I should call it now. So it's just my little webcam. It's really crappy, so sorry about that. Okay, anyway, so let's get started. The first thing, I don't know if anybody's ever touched on this yet in other response videos. I don't think I've watched them all. Is that he doesn't even have seem to have an understanding, or you, Tokyo Zeplin, don't seem to have an understanding of how kanji even works, how it's even read, or how Japanese people, native speakers, somebody's actually reached like a decent level of literacy in Japanese reads kanji. So all kanji in a vacuum, so to speak, have all these multiple meanings and multiple pronunciations they can have. But what these meanings really are basically nuances that the kanji can have within the context of words, but it's actually essentially irrelevant. And what I mean by that is people, once they know words, they know the words. They no longer read and break down the individual like kanji within the compounds. For example, let's say the kanji compound for Japanese, Nihongo. You have the kanji that can mean sun or day, the kanji that can mean like origin or book, and the kanji for like word or language. So when a Japanese person reads this, they don't say, okay, here's the first kanji. It has these it has these meanings. What readings does it have? Okay, second one, the same thing, the last one. Okay, which one's I'm going to go with? No, they see that entire three kanji set together as a word. To a Japanese person, or actually to anybody learning Japanese eventually, if you gave all the kanji, all 2,000 meanings based off the flavors of ice cream, you could still learn to read Japanese. It helps when you're learning if the characters within the word do have some connection to the meaning of the word. I mean, obviously that would make it easier. But actually, once you learn it, you're no longer separating it like that. You see the word. You see the entire combination, just how you do in English. Like when I read in English, every word I know, I don't spell it out anymore. I don't sit there like this letter, this letter, this letter, this letter. Oh yeah, it's this. It's bam, this word. Bam, this word. Bam, this word. So the problem is then, so once a Japanese person, they learn this all throughout school and they're constantly exposed throughout their entire life, all these kanji. Well, these meanings, these individual meanings, essentially drop away because they're completely meaningless to their ability to read or understand because they know words. Like if you pick out some word and say, hey, what's that? What's the third kanji in there? Give me a meaning for that. They're like, man, I don't know. Why does it matter what the individual? I know what it in that word, what sound it takes, and here's that whole word, which is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that matters. It's kind of like asking an English person to spell every word they can read. Like, would they be able to do that correctly? No way. Like, not even close. Like, not close at all. I can read a ton of words, and this is actually something I should have hit on earlier. It's the difference between passive and active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary is vocabulary you can understand from reading or listening. Active vocabulary is vocabulary you can readily produce. Now, one's active vocabulary is always way, 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 way lower than one's passive vocabulary. And this is only logical because you can only produce what you already know. You can't say Japanese words that you don't know are Japanese words. It has to be words you can already understand. And I believe in English and Japanese is actually pretty close, depending on studies and education levels. I think from low, kind of like high school dropout level to university professor type level. Most people's active vocabulary is between 3 to 10,000 words, or is it 3 to 7,000? Somewhere in there, depending on where the study is. Where one's passive vocabulary is massive, massive, massive. I believe, again, Japanese and English are both fairly close in they actually have vocabularies in the multiple tens of thousands of word range. I think actually close to 100,000. And that's another thing. I saw one of your comments responding to somebody else in your video, probably before you blocked them, is that there's no language that has over 100,000 words. What? Go read up on English. The unabridged dictionary, I was just looking at a really old dictionary in the office the other day, Webster's Unabridged, from like the 70s, I think, maybe. And it has 440,000 words, English words. So I don't know where you got that from, so that's completely wrong. Okay, then another thing is, I think Give Me a Flake Man touched on this, is literacy rates in Japan actually prove this to you. One, they have one of the highest literacy rates in the world. It is around 98, 99%. And how they determine this is what they would consider an average literate person to be able to read. They actually do tests. They don't just say, like, hey, can you read? Yeah, I can. They do tests. And these tests compose of what they would consider what you would be required to be literate to read, which in Japan is the Joyo Kanji. Would be reading every normal day stuff, which has all of these kanji in it. If somebody could only read 500 kanji, let me give you an example of that. JLPT 3 is only like 374. So actually like pretty close, because JLPT 2 is like right around 1,000 kanji. So you're talking about a Japanese person that could only read vocabulary within barely above JLPT 3 level. That would mean you're retarded. You would be retarded. Like, if I give you a JLPT 3 level book, it's like, the man can fish. Can you fish? Yes, I can fish. I want to go to school today. School is fun. Thank you, Mr. Tanaka. That's pretty much the kind of stuff it is, really, to a Japanese person to read it. And they can read way over that. When they're like reading all these newspapers and all these like manga and novels, the vocabulary in there is not JLPT, slightly higher than JLPT 3 level. So that's ridiculous. What these Japanese people might be talking about is their active vocabulary to write something on the spot when you're prompting them with the English meaning. So yeah, maybe their active ability to write some of the stuff just based on a single meaning that they no longer really matters anymore. Yeah, they might not be able to do that. But actually ask them an entire word, to write an entire word. I bet they'll be able to write plenty of those. But here's the funny thing about the video, or like a completely retarded point. So you say that you know this because you've talked to Japanese people and you've asked them, like your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend, and you asked her, and like, oh, just curious, what's this kanji? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then, so you don't know because you had to ask her, and she doesn't know, or she tells you you don't know, but yet now you've determined this is a common kanji that they should know? That doesn't make any sense. That's really retarded. Like, you're just making stuff up. Yeah. And I've asked several people this. Okay, I can take a native English speaker, or I can take me, and go through the mall where there's all these like signs, the common words, and if a Japanese person or some foreigner asks me, hey, man, let's talk, like, what do all these words and these signs mean? I don't know. Like, half these like some weird brand label stuff. Like, I'm like, I guess it's the company guy's name that owns it, maybe. I don't really know what some of this stuff means. Like, so does that mean, they're on signs in a mall in a very public place? I guess I'm not a fluent English speaker. I don't know what's going on around me, I guess. So basically, what I'm saying is, stop putting out crap like this. You don't understand Japanese at all, and I have to question somebody's ability that lives in Japan that doesn't know this extremely simple facts to even analyze people around them, because obviously you're doing a very terrible job of it. So I don't think you should be making social commentary of Japanese people when you don't understand the foundation of the language and you think they can't read. So yeah, let's go ahead and stop with that. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do on this video, and I hope this doesn't create some crazy attack. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help out Japanese language learners. Japanese is cool, it's fun, it's challenging, but don't listen to this guy because he's retarded.